All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Finalize, and in this video, we're going to talk about Errol Spence Jr. and EIMANTAS Stanionis and the probability that the WBA is going to order that fight if they do not work out the Terrence Crawford fight soon. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Finalize. In this video, we are going to talk about the welterweight division and Errol Spence Jr., Terrence Crawford, if they are not able to make that fight soon. According to sources, the WBA is going to order Errol Spence Jr. to have a fight with EIMANTAS Stanionis next. Before I get into that conversation though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to subscribe and hit the bell icon. We have regular daily conversations on the channel about boxing in both the live stream format and the video format, so there's always a really good conversation to be had. Also, if you're a regular subscriber, and I don't care if you hate everything I got to say or if you like what I have to say, thank you for your support. Appreciate you guys coming by the channel and adding to the conversation. So let's get into this. All right, so everybody wants to see the big fight with Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. However, it seems like those negotiations for that fight are going on and on and on. Now, obviously, a lot of it, is innuendo and rumor going around, leaks out of camps or people around camps. And we talk about that on the channel. I don't have a problem doing it. I tell you every time that this is what, until you actually know what is going on and they either sign the contract or somebody on that team comes out and says the fight's not happening, you're always just kind of in the dark about it. But the conversation goes on and it is what it is. However, there are some realities that are out there that my understanding is could be coming to fruition pretty sooner than later. And if these guys are not able to wrap up their negotiation and give the WBA an idea of what they're going to do next, and that would be a fight between Errol Spence Jr. and EIMANTAS Stanionis, because they are pressed to do so, the WBA, because they have basically been ordered by the commission in the United States that runs boxing, right? The one that is a quasi-federal institution called the Association of Boxing Commissions, has ordered the WBA to consolidate there you go, ESPN on now. I always forget to turn my phone off. Have ordered the WBA to consolidate their belts. And what that means is, if you're not familiar with the World Boxing Association and how many belts they have a championship, a super champion, a regular champion, super champion and a regular champion. And I do believe they also got maybe some interim champions, but 2 or 3 different types of champions, 4 different types of champions. And pretty much what the Boxing Association of Boxing Commissions is saying is, look, you're circumventing the rules of the Muhammad Ali Act that they have to enforce by having all of these championships. Now, what is the rule that they're circumventing? The Muhammad Ali Act is a congressional act that is meant to do 2 things. It's supposed to safeguard boxers from being taken advantage of by promoters and managers. And the second portion of it is to ensure that the boxing commissions have reliable and fair ranking systems. So as far as which portion of the Muhammad Ali Act this refers to, it's the part with the ranking, with the fair and transparent ranking systems. And when you have more than one championship, it pretty much just eliminates your ranking system, right? So back in the day, you would have promoters paying to get their fighters ranked here, ranked there, right? Ranked at number 1, ranked at number 2, ranked at number 3, because that would give you an opportunity to fight for the one championship that there was. Now, the way that the boxing commissions have gotten around that is that they have 3 and 4 different champions, right? One of the biggest, in my opinion, one one of the biggest violations of that is the WBC and their franchise belt, and the WBA and the WBA Super Championship, because they are, those two championships do not mandate, or basically allow the champion not to have mandatories. So when you do not have a mandatory, all that ranking system means nothing, and you have no way to actually earn a championship. Because take for example at 147 pounds, where Errol Spence Jr. is the WBA super champion and EIMANTAS Stanionis is the WBA regular champion. EIMANTAS Stanionis is the one that has the mandatory. So if somebody's earning up the rankings and they're climbing the rankings with the WBA, the best that they can do by becoming a mandatory, the best that they can do by becoming number one and number two is fight the regular champion, and they will never be considered to be the true champion. And there's a different set of scenarios at which they put that belt that they say is their real belt on the line. So it eliminates the ranking system. Same thing goes on with the WBC and the franchise belt over there, where when somebody becomes franchise, they no longer have mandatories. And then the WBC champion is the one that has the mandatories, but they are not the champion. So it's almost like naming your number one contender. The most you'll let anybody do is become the number one contender. But the number one contender can never be ordered to fight the champion. So that is basically a rigged ranking system. So the WBA and they're basically what they did, and this, I mean, the Association of Boxing Commissions, what they did, and I don't understand why they made the decision at that time, but there was a blatant corruption in a fight that took place last year between a guy named Maestra and I do believe Michael Fox. And it was such a horrific robbery that, I mean, one where like the guy that wound up losing the fight literally won almost every round and won it by a grip, but he was the underdog and was not the guy that seemingly the WBA or the house fighter that they wanted to win. So it was just such a big robbery, but they took that, and instead of dealing with the issue with the judges, they dealt with the issues with ranking systems and ordered them to consolidate their belts. So now that Errol Spence Jr. is the WBA champion, he inherited that responsibility of fighting Emmanuel Stanionis from the previous super champion, who was Yordanis Ugas. And that right there will consolidate the belts, because if Errol beats Stanionis, or no matter what, whoever wins it, it will allow them to eliminate the WBA. It'll allow them to eliminate the WBA regular title right there. Same situation that we find with Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis, where Gervonta Davis is the WBA regular champion, and Terrence Crawford, Devin Haney is the WBA super champion, where the WBA very well may order the two of those guys to fight to consolidate that belt. But we'll see what happens. And I'm sure it seems as if they're going to give Errol Spence Jr., obviously, well, it seems that they're going to give him a grace period to try to allow him to do that, to do undisputed, right? Because there is the concept where people say, well, doesn't unification trump mandatories? And I always say, I don't think that has ever been every rule book, every rules that I've read for all the sanctioned bodies. It doesn't say that. It says that they will allow for it, right? And that they may allow for that, but sometimes they may say, no, absolutely not. We need to do this. And in this case, the WBA and their need to consolidate that belt may very well trump, the excitement that they have around the unification of the division in the form of an undisputed championship fight between Errol and Terrence. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.